Entrevistas Alfa.
¿Cómo están? Yo soy Paty Velasco en Alfa 91.3, donde todo nace, y estoy muy contenta de estar con Benjamin Plant de Miami Horror. How are you, Benjamin?
Hey, I'm very good. Thank you. How are you?
I'm very, very fine. Thank you so much. And I want to start asking you, because you've been away from music for a decade. How do you feel to be back?
Yeah, so we haven't really been fully away, but we haven't made an album for a long time. So we've done an EP and a small few tracks just in 2019. So it has been a long time since we've released significant music to us. And it feels amazing. We really had a vision in 2020 during kind of the pandemic.
Oof.
It was which was a good time to make music because we were, very free and there was nothing else to do. But
well, yeah, you're right.
yeah, but it changed our perspective a little. We were just trying to find a way to fit in before, and it just kind of felt like, how do we keep up with music, and what do we do that kind of is like us but fits in? And then when that happened, it was actually, what do we do that means something really significant to us? And it just changed our perspective on life and music.
Yes.
And we basically threw away everything we had lined up, and we started again in 2020. So there was a lot of R&B kind of funk soul in a modern way, like Kate Renata or something, but it just didn't feel right for the project. So we started over and we kind of just went back to our roots.
That was going to be my next question. How did your experiences and perspective during this period of time change the way you see the world, the way you see the music, the way you feel, and how did that influence the sound and themes of your new album? That was going to be exactly my question. And with the pandemic, wow.
Yeah, so I think a few things happened at the same time, right around the start of the pandemic, that kind of created this moment and this change. I think the obvious one was when we all kind of got locked down and whatnot, in Australia, for example, you weren't allowed to leave for 7 months your house, basically. Besides, getting shopping. What that did was remove all of the kind of trivial things in society that maybe don't really mean too much at the end of the day, your social standing in the club, you know what I mean? What you dress like all these little things that seem so important just kind of became irrelevant for a long period of time.
Absolutely. For everyone.
Yeah. So that was first a shock, and then kind of permanently changed me in a way, which was, I think, a good thing to remind you about what's important, and started to reflect more on life and childhood. And then right at that same time is when I was watching the show Chef's Table. Have you ever seen that?
No.
So Chef's Table is profiles on chefs around the world that have kind of changed the game a bit, have done something special. And they tell the stories really beautifully. And they go back to their childhood, their life, their family, what made them. And, yeah. And, some people cared so much about their customers. There was this one restaurant that's Japanese in Los Angeles, and she had a folder, a book of her customers and what they've had each time they came and things like that, so that she could, keep it interesting. And it just reminded me if you're a chef and you're able to do that, and you're an artist, they're essentially artists at that point. And it was why aren't I drawing in from my personal life and from these experiences that got me started in music? So yeah, it was revisiting that and finding those, that meaning and the things you've always been interested in, which for me, since I was a little kid, I was always interested in the cosmos and space and our role in the universe. And so that kind of triggered that again for me. And I started to revisit that, which this whole album is about.
And just as the chef, you can do magic with your music too.
Yeah, basically.
You can inspire, you can talk about important things in life, as you said, family, friends, health. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's moments on the album that kind of hint at losing people and, all these human things that we do have to go through. Yes. That are both beautiful and can sometimes be a struggle. So yeah, it was that's why the album was a big picture thing. It wasn't a specific song that can tell you all of it in one. It was I wanted to make this album that was a whole concept. And, people don't also really do albums like that too often these days. So yeah, we just try to create, like you're saying, that magic and that
And it's a beautiful new album. We always have tomorrow. Really, really beautiful new album. And Benjamin, can you tell us the significance of the title of this new CD?
Yeah, so what I would like to know your interpretation first, because obviously everyone interprets it differently.
Thank you for asking. We always have tomorrow. For me, it's like hope. It's like faith. It's like everything's gonna be okay, and the best is yet to come. I don't know if I'm going to the right path.
So you're interpreting it more like I think a lot of people did interpret it like that. You're interpreting it like it's saying we always have tomorrow. And
well,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know it's like a
in the past,
you're like playing with the words. Or
yeah. So it's that what you said, but looking back at the same time. So it's looking forward and back at the same time, where it's saying like, you know, in the past we always had tomorrow, and now how long do we have? Like it's this kind of question, you know?
Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't seen it that way. So thank you for explaining that to me, because it's a beautiful meaning, though.
Yeah. I just like that the song is, I mean, the album is about the past and the future and life experiences, and we somehow managed to come up with a title that kind of like has that in it, if you can figure it out.
And I would like to ask you to walk us through the creative process of creating this beautiful song. For example, We're All Made of Stars, where you collaborate with Telanova. Beautiful song. How was the process of creating that song?
I will just say the songs in general, like the more emotional ones, that is an emotional one.
Yes, it is.
You know, and there's the kind of playful side on the album too, but the emotional ones were the most kind of important to telling the story. And I started with a lot of chord progressions, because the other thing that came together in that time that we're talking about in 2020 was like I learned how to play piano properly. Not like I'm great at playing piano, but I learned how to play it a bit better and learn about chords and things. So I was able to finally explore that emotion a bit more in more depth than I actually could for like 10 years before. So by doing that, I found all these chord progressions that had these sentiments and these feelings to me. And I kind of had them laid out like, okay, we're going to use these on the album somewhere. And then I had to figure out where to pull them together. So yeah, that was kind of in a broad sense. We started with that. And then, we also wrote like a whole list of things that I wanted to cover on the album. So whether that be like just sentences, like we have the interludes that kind of explain, help explain the concept. And it was like, I had something like 60 boxes to tick, of different things I wanted to make sure we either said or kind of like hinted at or whatever. So then we were just piecing them together with the songs and making sure that like every time we started writing vocals or something, we were touching on one of those points and kind of covering all the bases. So that was kind of the method.
Okay. And there are a lot of invited artists on this new album, including Telanova. How did you choose them, or how did the collaboration started, or they get close to you, or?
Yeah, they were just kind of like people that came up at the time that I felt were right on the song. Like we were always looking for different people, and it was actually really hard to find kind of like a soul vocalist for the song Glowing, for example. It was like really tough, and it took years. And then with some of the other songs, there were just like a lot of Australians. Like I was working with a lot of Australians that you just seem to be on the same page with a bit more. Like if you work with writers in Los Angeles, it could be a bit like pop writers.
Yeah.
So and they
it's like the same culture, the same vibe.
Yeah. There's just something that connects a little bit, and also like quite a few of them grew up slightly younger than us, like not much, but enough that they grew up with our music. So they kind of understood some of the references and things like that. And it just felt like working with kind of a new generation of people that felt refreshing. And also there wasn't, normally when you go to do collaborations, you kind of want to find like a big kind of mutual name that you can like build up a presence with. It's like something exciting, like Miami Horror collaborate with Parcels or something. But we were just, this was more about just getting the right thing for the song.
It's new talent.
Yeah.
Wow, as you said, it sounds really, really fresh. And Benjamin, how did you balance your desire to create something new and innovative with the need to stay true to your signature sound?
You know, I don't know if we really thought too much about trying to be innovative or anything. I think the innovation came more in just the idea that we had a strong concept and that we had all these things we wanted to say and all these boxes to tick, and we made sure we covered them. Like, that is just not really something people do that often in music. It's just to that detail anyway. And I wouldn't say we pulled like every single thing off, but it was just, that was our way of innovating, you know, creating a concept album that can mean something to people for a long time.
And staying true to your sound.
Yeah, definitely stayed true. Like we ended up, I would say like there are some good examples of like things that sound a little bit fresher and different on the album. And then there are like very old school kind of influence things like Lost Seasons, which is like, you know, indie.
I love that song.
Yeah. Thank you. So that is like, yeah, we don't really have a song exactly like that, but it sounds like it's influenced by, you know, indie dance kind of stuff that we used to make. So and same with We're All Made of Stars. Both of those songs, to me, I was like a little nervous because I didn't want to make something that sounded like too much from the past, you know?
Okay.
Yeah, but that was our way of kind of tying it all in.
Like keeping a balance.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what are your hopes and expectations for how the new album, We Always Have Tomorrow, will be received by your fans? They are loving it, right?
Yeah, seems like it. But, you know, like people also don't always, the people who hate it don't tell you kind of thing. So, but it looks good so far. And I think that, you know, as we were coming to a close on the album, even though there were things I wanted to add, there were, you know, potentially vocals that I wish were slightly different. Sometimes, like, there's always those things that you're not 100% certain on. I was still just like, you know, we did very well at like getting to where we wanted to do. And we just, yeah, we knew there would be some fans that liked it. Like, no matter what, we were like, okay, this really means enough that we know there's going to be a good enough portion of our fans. And yeah, we just want them to find that kind of connection and that moment in it that the album's talking about, all those things from childhood, teenagers, growing up, getting older, losing people. And, you know, the fact that we're the kind of ultimate full circle thing in the album theme wise is like that we're all part of the stars, and we always were, and we'll always return to that. So it's like there's a peacefulness in knowing that, you know, it's like when you lose somebody, they're just returning to where they came, you know.
That's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that like if people can see that, resonate with that and see that, that's where it's like hopefully will last a long time and, you know, be somewhat classic to people that listen to it.
I'm pretty sure they will resonate with your music, with your new music too. And I would like to know, do you have any artist or band in mind with whom you would like to collaborate in the future? Maybe some Mexican artist, new artist could be.
Honestly, not really. Like we just, like I was kind of getting at, we just kind of went really into our own world on this one, and we just ignored like what was trending, what was like popular, and so we don't really have any outside influences. It was just like making what came out, and yeah, I would love to collaborate with more people on the next thing, but we just honestly haven't thought about it. Yeah.
Maybe we should send you some ideas.
Okay. Yeah.
So Benjamin, you're going to be touring, you're going to be promoting the new album, and are you coming to Mexico City? Any plans of visiting?
Yeah, so management and our agent are like working on something, and we had some plans, but they're not confirmed yet. So yeah, we can't like look at anything else until we know whether this plan is confirmed.
But I hope we'll have you here pretty soon.
Yeah, this year, hopefully, right?
Oh, that would be great. Any other plans? What's next for Miami Horror?
Yeah, so I guess because this album was so significant and took so much work, you know, we don't want to jump into another album straight away. What we want to do is expand on this one. Yes. And there were quite a few songs that didn't make the version, the album, because we just, you know, couldn't finish in time and we weren't sure where to take them. And so we wanted to get the show on the road and get it moving. So yeah, we'll add in probably like, you know, 3 or 4 more tracks, do a deluxe version. And then we also have some alternate versions where it was like the song Remember. You know, the only qualm I had about that was like the vocal was quite like French house auto-tune, Daft Punky kind of thing. And I didn't want to do that originally. So we were going to make an actual like full 1970s version of the song where it's just actually a disco song.
Wow.
Yeah, and then a few little funny things like that where we're reinterpreting songs or, you know, making an alternate version. And then after that, we have a label that we're launching, but I'm not actually supposed to say anything about that. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to say something to your Mexican fans? Final message?
Yeah. I mean, if they're not aware already, they were like such a big inspiration to this specific album.
Yeah.
We had just played Corona Capital. I think it was November 2019.
Yes.
So we had played that. It was a crazy show. Our agent was really impressed. Like the tent was, you know, full beyond like the people went far beyond the tent, and it just made us feel so loved. You know, and we have that in Mexico more than anywhere else. And that was when I thought, like, you know what? I'm going to stop like chasing these things and chasing these trends. Like, let's just make something that hopefully they will love, you know, people that love us will love. So yeah, that moment kind of inspired that. So yeah, Mexico is big in our heart.
Thank you. Thank you, Benjamin. It's been my pleasure having this conversation with you. I hope to see you soon here in Mexico City, and we will keep track of your music and your new album because we love your music.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you. Él fue Benjamin Plant de Miami Horror en Alfa 91.3, donde todo nace. Yo soy Paty Velasco. Muchas gracias.
Entrevistas Alfa.